Now, as many in the region are very shocked to find out, it snows in New England, and unfortunately, the RWA roster has been kind of thin. So, for the first time ever, the Renegade Wrestling Alliance will be pairing with Next Level Grappling and Entertainment to bring you an RWA Next Level Super Show! Let's get on to our first contest. It is a tag team match and is scheduled for one fall.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are kicking off RWA Hype as only the Renegade Wrestling Alliance can. Hello, I am Rob Massey as I get commentary here in our first contest, a tag team match between the Gears of War and the Men of Honor. The Men of Honor are a little upset that I said they are from Sochi, Russia, as that is the home site of the 2014 Winter Olympics. And the Winter Olympics, of course, right now, both Team USA and Team Canada undefeated in their preliminary rounds. Team USA today just beat the Russians 3-2 in overtime, in a shootout nonetheless, on their own ice. More of the Olympic talk a little bit later, as Dante and I have a friendly. I understand that. Listen, you're going to look so pretty in red and yellow. As Dante is just a little upset going into the playoffs of the Olympics later on this week, with Team Canada and Team USA being undefeated, and they are the favorites to be in the gold medal match for Olympic hockey. That being said, in the ring, the Gears of War will be taking on Men of Honor. The Gears of War suffering a tough loss in the tag team tournament. And you can hear this sellout crowd here at the Chop Shop, snow or no snow, getting on the side of the Gears of War. Our referee, who resembles C.W. Anderson, the bell rings weekly. And it's going to be Frank the Crank and Mr. Sterling. Collar and elbow tie-up as both men test his strength, and Frank the Crank clearly out-bullying Mr. Sterling early on here. Frank has a clean break. And you can hear the approval of this crowd. Mr. Sterling confers with Dante. Going for a collar and elbow tie-up, and then just a kitchen sink. Knee right to the gut, and now going for a big scoop, can't do it. Mr. Sterling going for a scoop again, can't do it. Frank the Crank is able to break it up. Frank the Crank with a big scoop and a slam. Sends Mr. Sterling right to the outside. He's going to call a timeout. Mr. Sterling and Dante not looking as strong as they wanted to look early on here in this match, as Ronnie Ribbs tells one of his childhood friends to crank it up. What a huge night we have here. The Renegade Wrestling Alliance and Next Level Grappling and Entertainment teaming up to put on this show here. Mr. Sterling, Frank the Crank with a lock up again. Sterling switched under. Side headlock now. Taking the big Sequoia down to his level. Off the ropes to Mr. Sterling, ducks a clothesline, ducks another clothesline, goes to whip Frank the Crank, and Frank the Crank sends Chris Sterling out of the ring. Look at the strength of Frank the Crank. Mr. Sterling is in a bad way. It looks like Dante is trying to nurse the wounded posterior of Mr. Sterling. Sterling once again gets in the ring and tags in his partner, your Canadian hero, Dante. And Dante is asking for Ronnie Ribbs. Ronnie Ribbs now in the match. Ronnie Ribbs getting this crowd on the side of the USA. And Dante is pained to hear it. Dante trying to help up his bicep. Dante is calling for a test of strength and is being mocked. Say what you will about Dante, ladies and gentlemen, I would not mock the man. Ronnie Ribbs locks the fingers of Dante. One hand. Dante trying to get a good grip, and now both men chest to chest. And a huge test of strength. Ronnie Ribbs powering over Dante and brings Dante to his knees. And now stopping on the hands of your Canadian hero, Dante. And a huge clothesline takes down Dante. Back elbow this time takes down your Canadian hero. And a drop kick drops Dante. And Ronnie Ribbs is feeling it now. The Men of Honor have really not been able to get their bearings here in this match. As a rake to the eyes, and Dante with the clubbing shots on Ronnie Ribbs. Oh, a big Ric Flair style chop to the chest of Ronnie Ribbs. And Dante just staring down Ronnie Ribbs. Now the headbutts in the corner. I don't know if it's the headbutts or the hair that hurts more. And now choking out Ronnie Ribbs. Dante resembling the late Philip Seymour Hoffman in Boogie Nights as he nails the headbutt on Ronnie Ribbs. And now choking him out in the near corner. Ronnie Ribbs, Irish whip, reverses, tends Dante into the corner. Ribbs charges and goes for a monkey flip, sends Dante pot of a tea kettle. And Ronnie Ribbs is back in control. You can see his chest, a huge welt from those chops. Big scoop and a slam, and here comes Frank the Crank, the big Sequoia, the RWA rookie. Shades of the Rockers with the double elbow. Here's the cover, 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Dante tries to get it up to his feet, goes into the ropes looking for a break, and, well, Frank does have to break. Frank breaks, and Dante with a shot right to the throat of Frank the Crank. Ronnie Ribs tries to get at Dante, and Dante now pounding on Frank the Crank. Another rookie mistake from Frank the Crank, the big 275-pounder from Foxborough. Knee to the gut, trying to switch it up with Dante, and now a big elbow. Frank's gonna go corner to corner. No water in the pool, he eats the buckle, and Dante with a snapmare takeover and a kick right to the back. They have Frank the Crank, the larger of the two competitors from the Gears of War, on the mat, and the Men of Honor in full control here. And just clobbering the head of Frank the Crank is Mr. Sterling. The points of the elbow right to the cranium. Mr. Sterling now not showing any class or any honor by choking out Frank the Crank. And now a headbutt. Nobody wins with a headbutt. Dante trying to get this pro-American crowd on his side. It is not working. And Frank the Crank is trying to outmuscle Mr. Sterling, and now rake to the eyes. Mr. Sterling with a club to the back, and now in full control again of Frank the Crank. Frank the Crank down on a knee, and a rear chin lock applied. Referee is checking under the chin of Frank the Crank. Frank the Crank is struggling, but is still alive in this match. Frank the Crank with an elbow, another elbow, and being thrown right down to the mat. Mr. Sterling in full control, and now, well, that was not warranted at Ronnie Ribs, and that got Ronnie Ribs in the ring, and the Men of Honor are able to take full advantage of Frank the Crank as the referee argues with Ronnie Ribs. The RWA rookie is in a lot of trouble. Dante now applying another rear chin lock on Frank the Crank. We are coming to you from the RWA Chop Shop as this RWA match continues between the Men of Honor and the Gears of War. Both teams participated in the tournament, the tag team tournament for the RWA Tag Team Championships. Now pulling the hair sends Frank the Crank down. Dante tags in Mr. Sterling. The Men of Honor have been in full control here for the last about 5 minutes. Big elbow drop. Here's a cover. 1, 2, and a kick out at 2. Sterling cannot believe he only found 2 against Frank the Crank. Frank the Crank dazed, but still overpowering Mr. Sterling. Irish whip into the ropes. Frank the Crank with a kick right to the mush. Off the ropes again, and Crank with a big shoulder tackle. Levels Mr. Sterling. Here's a cover. 1, 2, and Mr. Sterling kicks out at 2, and Dante getting in the ring has a little bit of extra help. Frank the Crank going for that 1980s leg drop. No water in the pool. And now it looks like Mr. Sterling is locking in the keys to higher education. That key lock submission hold that we have seen Mr. Sterling use time and time again. Frank the Crank is trying to power out of this move.
That is your third face of the week right
He
there.
breaks the hold as Mr. Sterling had to eat a few forearms. Frank the Crank gets Mr. Sterling back up. Sterling fights away now. On for a sidewalk slam. Here's a cover. 1, 2, and Dante pulls Frank the Crank off, and Ronnie Ribs goes after Dante. Dante sent it to a staging. Head first. Hey, it's not my fault. You know, in hockey, that's too many men on the ice. That's a 2-minute penalty. Frank the Crank is starting to crank it up. And this crowd is feeling it. Going for a big scissor kick and misses the mark. But he finds Sterling with a kick in the gut. We're going to go with a big vertical suplex, it looks like. And nails it! Sterling, the king of suplexes in RWA, just got snapped right over. Here comes Ronnie Ribbs. Tagged in. Frank the Crank holding Sterling, and Ronnie Ribbs nailing it with a close, and here's the cover. 1, 2, 3. The Gears of War have just upset the Men of Honor. A scissor kick and a clothesline that found its mark on the Men of Honor. And once again, the Men of Honor come up just a little short. Well, what can you say, ladies and gentlemen? It's what happens here at the RWA Chop Shop. It's good to see that Frank the Crank is starting to learn from some of the mistakes he's making in the ring as a rookie. It doesn't take away from any of his talent. And now the Men of Honor.
We're still undefeated. Nobody beat us in a fair fight yet.
And the Men of Honor are saying that technically they are undefeated and nobody has beaten them in a fair fight as of yet. Be that as it may, the Gears of War have defeated the Men of Honor according to their record books in an underhanded tactic. According to the RWA record books, it counts as a pinfall victory. We have a lot more coming up on RWA Hype. We'll be back right after this.